Alright, hello. Welcome back to another old school style Warframe video where we can finally take a look at this amazing lightning buffs that we got on this patch. I mean, my orbiter has never looked this pretty and I'm so happy about it. This lighting looks beautiful. Thank you, D. So, we are gonna take a look at Archguns. My two favorite Archguns from this patch, essentially, and the ones that I have tried so far and they have the biggest impact and pretty much the most potential. And we're gonna showcase them with a multitude of arcane combinations depending on your Warframe to see what you can go for and to kind of explain more stuff about them and go more in depth. So this is basically all a video about everything, the new Archgun stuff, and obviously, you know, all of the Archguns are not good, but some are better than other for the ground version, some are better than other for the Archwing version, and some are used for Profit Taker and do way better on that. So let's start with the Kuva Grattler here. The Kuva Grattler is probably the strongest ground Archgun right now. I don't see how this can be beaten by pretty much anything. And due to it being a Kuva weapon, you only need to form on it, which is a huge W. And my Kuva Grattler is not even that huge of a percentage, it's only 28%. Also, really big fan of this modding screen. I talked about it on the now deleted video, but I really like this new modding UI. A lot of people seem to not like it, but I think it's a step in the right direction, it's way cleaner. But here we're gonna showcase, first of all, this setup. So obviously, I do have a Riven mode. You don't need a Riven mode for a Grattler, but if you do have it, then you can take the multi-shot to almost 3, and you know, that is really cool. 3 multi-shot on an AoE explosive weapon with 9-meter radial attack and, you know, innate blast, all of these stats. It's really insane. So, you know, not everyone has primed Archgun modes, that's fine, you guys can get them. And I think the most important parts to have as Archgun modes, if you want to aim for something to get or to buy, first of all would be dual rounds, or prime dual rounds better, if you can do that. This mode is not really useful. I don't really see the reason to ever play this instead of playing prime rubedo or line barrel. Critical focus is an absolutely insane mode, but you can go without it. And I think if I didn't use the Riven mode, I would probably go with this, and then I would replace this with a cold mode. But in general, you know, parallax scope is very easy to get, so no issues. Hollowed bullets is one of the more important ones. Sorry for the dog, by the way. That's my doggo. She's happy. Critical focus, really nice, obviously. And all of the 120% Archgun modes. There are some 60-60 Archgun modes, and, you know, I have contamination casing here as an example. But these are not very important. Honestly, when your elemental modes on Archguns are 120% instead of the usual 90% that are on rifles. If I can get to infect the clip. You see how rifles have 90%? 120% is a big increase, and it's double the amount of the 60-60s modes. So stacking modes like these onto the weapon and having multiple elements can really increase your damage. So make sure to get those or even have those if you want to get more damage onto your Archgun. Everything else, not really that great. Also, these have the added benefit of only costing 9 capacity instead of 11, so very big buff. So this starting arcane setup is a Sarin setup. We have primary blight and secondary enervate here. And primary blight is Sarin's primary arcane. This just gives more critical damage and more multi-shot. The multi-shot will not be enough to get us to a consistent 4 bullet, but we will have close to a 60% chance for a 4th bullet to fire from our gun all the time. The extra critical damage then can scale off of our critical chance, which is buffed by secondary enervate. And I also tested the idea of using secondary outbursts. The issue with secondary outbursts is because Archguns have a cooldown on how often they can be procced. Then you can use this, you know, you get the 30-second timer, and then after that, your Archgun is done, you're out of ammo, or like you need to take it out because you can't use the arcane anymore. You go to your secondary and your Archgun has now a cooldown. So other than special scenarios like heavy warfare on elite temporal Archimedia, where you can take out your Archgun very frequently, I don't really see the reason to use secondary outbursts on Archguns. But if you are on temporal Archimedia, then you can put this on, and it's really good. The rest of the arcanes we'll talk about more in detail. But overall, I think the biggest winners are this arcane, then, obviously the Merciless arcane is really good, Enervate is really good, Fortifier is okay, but I don't really care. Shaver is amazing when paired with Primary Frostbite on some weapons and some builds. We're gonna show a build like that after that. I don't have one, so we'll just make that from scratch. And then the biggest one, in my opinion, is Primary Dexterity and Secondary Dexterity. These give combo duration, and if you equip them, you have a 20-second combo duration on your melee, which is 7.5 plus 7.5, 15, and then 5 by base from your melee weapon, which means we have 20-second combo duration on our melee weapon without needing to take our primary and secondary arcanes onto the other weapons we want. So even if you never use the Archgun for anything, if you have an Archgun like the Mausolon, let's say everyone has the Mausolon ground version, so if you have this, and you just pop arcane adapters onto it, you can now have free combo duration forever. This is a flat buff for you, and it really, it's huge for melee weapons in this game. It is such a huge buff for melee weapons. So I'm gonna wait. I didn't pick Siren. I'm sorry. I don't really like using Siren, but we will use her, and I will showcase my build because I'm sure somebody will ask for it. But here it is. Now, we don't have an arcane to increase fire rate to our guns, which is okay. You can use Avenger if you want, but I don't really find it interesting, so we're just gonna stay like this. It doesn't really matter, and just hit it. So, I really want to showcase something on 1999, so we will go to the Scaldra Hellstorm, because I don't want to talk about the damage detonation changes now that everything is done, but I want to put a little asterisk on something that I think DE needs to address, because I feel like it takes a lot from, temporal media and all that stuff and their difficulty. So if someone from DE is watching and, you are interested in this, then please do let me know that I think Baobaos should have their attenuation. Honestly, I think Tech Road Baobaos are not an enemy that you see very consistently, especially on normal missions like Exterminates and all that stuff. And it's very obvious that getting them back to having attenuation will make them infinitely more fun to fight, because they actually are tanky. Right now, the way that it is, both Dedicants and Baobaos are damage attenuation removed. They have the damage attenuation removed as a result of all the stuff that happened yesterday. But overall, for the Dedicants or Desiccants or whatever they're called, it's not too bad. Not because the unit is like annoying or anything. I mean, it is kind of annoying as a unit, but it's more of an issue that I have with the Dedicants being way more common as an enemy than the Baobao. You can find them very easily just laying around doing their stuff, and the Baobao is just, it's not really that common, and it should have a mini boss value. So them getting attenuation back would be really lovely, in my opinion. I think they deserve to have it, because I feel like Baobaos do deserve having a mini boss status, because look at this. I don't think killing a Baobao this quickly is like any fun, especially when on House Crabs, for example, they appear like this. They're like this big beefy enemy that you have to take care of, and they just die that quickly. So enough rambling about that. As you can see, this Grattler is absolutely shredding everything. I know I'm on Siren. I will showcase Wisp after. But I think on Siren, this combo of secondary Enervate and primary Blight is one of the strongest and most insane things that you can do in order to benefit from the changes this update. And it honestly works really well. Like, you have a ton of damage from the Toxin procs, you get the extra crit damage and multi-shot, you can bypass using a mod for crit by just having secondary Enervate and getting more consistent orange critting. And as you saw, that was a 1.8 million Toxin proc right there. There's a lot of damage from this Grattler, and there's a lot of AoE from this Grattler. You can even bypass a mod for damage and use more AoE. Like, I have a heat mod on this Grattler. I said AoE, sorry, more fire rate. You can use automatic trigger, and automatic trigger would help a lot with the with the weapon's fire rate and make it way more deadly. But yeah, we'll allow that guy to spawn Dedicant, so we can also see that in action. Although my Grattler will run out of ammo right now, so that's fine. Let's just run out of ammo. It's all good. So we'll just use the Salta. The recall changes, you know, don't worry, they've already addressed those. They will be fixed. We just need to wait for either the next update or if they do a hot fix. I think they will need to do it on the next update. They said something about this requiring a code fix to be different, but yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. No, not a big deal in my end, but you see Bao Bao right now. They die pretty quickly. Honestly, I expected him to die in the first shot from the Salta, but I think, yeah, I was unbuffed, which is why I didn't. That's fine though. There they are. So you see, I hit him 2 times with the Salta by accident even. I wasn't aiming at any weak point or anything, and this uses IQD, and he just kind of dies, so... It's really unfortunate on how little health he has, because this is a result of collateral damage for the Dedicant, because I don't know if you remember, he was a very difficult unit to fight, and therefore D reduced his maximum health by 3 times approximately, to make him a bit easier to take down. But the result of him losing that and also losing attenuation made him weaker than just a normal enemy, and he doesn't really have a mini-boss status, but he does come later in the Exterminate missions or through dropships, so they do kind of portray him as this, you know, way more difficult enemy. So I would like for the Dedicant to, if not get his attenuation back, because, you know, that kind of sucks at the end of the day, to have his triple maximum health back at least, you know? Because right now he dies really quickly, I don't know. We're gonna showcase how quickly the Acolyte dies as well, through this Grattler. Alright, that's Bao Bao. There's this Torment somewhere there, yep. And she's dead. So Acolytes are basically the same as pre-patch Acolyte, which is pretty nice. I think the way Acolytes are currently is fine for the most part. Maybe higher health would be good, but they are the units that scale over time forever, so they can go above level 9,999 in theory. If you stay that long, and if you decide to stay that long. So they are the tankiest unit you can find in the game. But they also have their issues. And I think because how strong their abilities are, not having them be one-shottable at base skill path can really ruin some players' experience, but right now it's good. Right now I think Acolytes are in a good state. They can just increase their health a bit, or if they want to, but I'm really happy with the amount of damage that they deal and the amount of attackiness they have, because they are kind of a glass cannon enemy after all. Regardless, let's swap to Wisp here and swap our Arcanes. So for our Arcane swap, I will simply take out Primary Blight because we don't have Siren anymore. And I will instead showcase the Primary Merciless, I think. Or actually, let's do Primary Frostbite. Oh no, never mind. Let's do this here. And let's do Primary Frostbite and Secondary Shiver, so you can see that as well. It is a very cool combination, and it's way more impactful of the second gun that I will showcase. But I really want to showcase you the impact it makes on this weapon as well, because I think it's really nice to see that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move these around a bit, because we have... Okay. So we have... Toxin. I think we need to make gas here. So gas cold? I mean, it's not the greatest, but that's what I have to work with, so we'll do. Yeah, we can fit it. That's fine. Right, so radiation, gas, cold, magnetic. Okay, that's fine. Not so bad. So yeah, Frostbite Shiver, you know, just forcing it like this. Let's try it. I don't think it will be as strong because we have gas, but I will go to the Void this time to showcase it. I won't do the entire mission, obviously. I don't think you need to see that. but I really want to show more stuff about the Archguns in general, and I will use more Archguns and try to get more Archguns, because I think there is some really interesting combinations to do here, like Larkspur Prime, Primary Crux, and Cascadia Flare is a really, really strong combo that you can use. And overall, there is a lot of cool stuff you can do now with Archguns. They are really, really strong as well. They feel very powerful, especially if you have a gun buffing frame. So the Grattler with secondary Retriever and this does that. Still getting used to the cursor a bit, but it's not too bad on the Grattler because the AoE of this weapon is absolutely crazy. So yeah, pretty cool. You're constantly on 40 stacks of primary frostbite, so you get that multi-shot and all that. Seaver is essentially adding CO, so for the Grattler it's kinda to be honest. It's not too bad, but it's kinda But overall, it's pretty cool. There's an earthquake happening in real life. That's kind of crazy. And still happening. Still happening. And are we good? I think we're good. Okay, we're good. Nice. That was interesting. Hey, I live in Greece, by the way, in case you guys were wondering. So it's a pretty earthquake-heavy country, and this one was definitely long. Oh, there is an aftershock. What the hell? Okay. Interesting. Don't worry. We don't really get that big of earthquakes, so I don't really need to be worried about much. But that was interesting. I will check to see where it goes. Regardless, you saw the Grattler. It's okay. It's not too bad. Obviously, Shiver and Frostbite Tech doesn't work that well on this weapon. It will work better on heavy hitting weapons that are single target or weapons that are hit scan. Prisma Duel Decurions if you want, a good example. But yeah, overall not a bad combo at all. And for normal gameplay, you would go something like this. And if you have the hit damage that I do right here, you can even go Cascadia Flare for that extra damage. Actually, do we do that? Because then I lose Enervate. Well, for my build, no. But if you don't use Enervate, you can use Flare and then you can go something different here? Don't know. Regardless, let me swap to the other gun that I want to showcase, which is the Morgha, as you can see here. The Morgha, this weapon is probably the strongest hitting Argon. It's not the strongest Argon, but the alt fire is crazy. I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. And I do have a crazy Riven for it. You can get an even crazier Riven for the Morgha, and you can easily get this alt fire to reach ridiculous damage numbers. But overall, you know, it's a pretty crazy weapon. So before we do anything, and I showcase it like normally, I'm gonna showcase this here because I think it's really important for people to see that. So we're gonna take our beloved Tekka Prime, and we're just gonna do to the mission. So as I said, if you have a Maslon and you just want to play melee, now you can use whatever you want on the melee. You can use influence, you can use any melee you want. It doesn't really matter. The importance of it is that you get the combo duration and you can easily abuse the modes like Blood Rush, Whipping Wounds, and all that, while not having to kind of ruin your primary or secondary weapons by using Dexterity Arcanes and having melee playstyles be combined with playstyles of primary and secondary weapons. And I think the biggest part about it is the fact that if you want, you can use something like a compressor that now has, you know, secondary encumber, and you don't have to remove secondary encumber to take care of your combo duration, because you get it from the Archguns. It's a huge buff in my opinion, and it's one of the better ones, so this will make a lot of melee weapons way better for Disruption as well, as a mission. So for Disruption, you can now, let's say, go for a melee only setup with some weapon that has a good heavy attack potential with Sanokai, and you can literally take the arcanes on your Argon, then take a Dexterity Arcane or your primary for 30 second or 27 second hold duration, sorry. And then with that, you can now easily upkeep this at 12x all the time, because I mean, look at bottom right, real quick. This takes forever to be lost. I will never lose this combo, basically. And if it's like with another Dexterity Arcane, you can easily traverse from hitting normal enemies to hitting the demo without losing this combo. And with a Tenokai attack, you will easily one-shot the demo and make use of the Condition Overload mode from melee weapons. So this is definitely one of the biggest buffs that we found to the game. Which is funny considering we buffed Archguns, and the biggest buff that came out of buffing Archguns is not even on the Archguns themselves, and they are on the melee weapons. Which is pretty crazy. But really like this change, and I was hoping this would work. This was something that I mentioned a lot before the update, and I'm really glad it actually works, because this makes melee a way more appealing playstyle to players, because you passively have essentially 20 seconds combo duration, and it just feels really good to play with. So last but not least, let's showcase the Morgha on Wisp. If I wanted to showcase this for even bigger damage, I would probably take Mirage, but I don't really need to. Now, I'm not sure about Encumber on these weapons or on any of the Archgun weapons. You guys can tell me, but Archguns don't really have any CO, so Encumber doesn't feel like a good arcane on them. Secondary Search is a really interesting arcane, and I could try it here, especially if I go Mirage after. Actually, you know what? Yeah, after this, we'll go Secondary Surge and Primary Merciless, and we will try to get a really ridiculous high damage weapon. I also tried Outburst on this, but, you know, it didn't work and all that. Conjunction Voltage is an interesting one, but the reload speed is kind of meh, so I don't really know how to feel about it. Cascadia Empowered is also really good, but the Archguns have so much base damage that a flat damage increase is not that great. Overcharge is interesting. This is one of the better ones in my opinion, but it's only if you have consistent overshield. So if you play something like Revenant and you have Ogre modes, you can definitely have a primary arcane for like base damage and then put a secondary arcane with a Cascadia overcharge. I can showcase that as well. See, there is a lot of things to experiment with Archons, and it's so fun to do. Essentially, it's just really nice. And I'm so glad that now you can actually try to use the Archguns on something like a demo as well, because of all the changes to the game. And yeah, it just feels great. It just feels great. So let's go showcase the Morgha real quick. The only gripe that I have with this weapon is that it's so ugly. I mean, look at it. What is this? It looks like a car engine that's gone bad. I don't know. Anyways, oh yeah, the Morgha has ridiculous recoil. So if you play with screen shake off, you will have to do this to hit your enemies. So that's one bad thing about it, I guess. But this is just normal. Actually, you know what? I can't even play like this, bro. I'm gonna be real. I'm sorry. I really have to. I know screen shake and all that, but I need to see where my bullets are going. This has too much recoil, you know. Anyway, so Morgha on its own, you already see it's dealing quite a bit of damage. It is really powerful. It has some AoE capabilities. The Altfire is definitely where it's at though, where, you know, you shoot it and... yeah. 3 missiles fly out and they just destroy everything, essentially. It's really fun. Look at that! Don't tell me that's not insane. Like, holy shit, the Morgha is crazy. The Morgha is so crazy. This weapon, you just take it for disruption, you stack the passive, and then you just shoot the guy at the face, and yeah, that's it. He's dead. He's literally dead. It's wow. It's something else. I already knew it was gonna be crazy because I was seeing the stats, and I'm like, there is no way this is balanced. If we add secondary enervate and like 400% damage, that's not gonna be balanced, but. Here we are. It also has 12-meter explosion radius, so, you know, that's pretty fun. Crazy weapon, this one. And what I want to do is I want to try to modify this build just a bit by copying it here. And then taking this and making it secondary surge. And that should be fine. Let me see. We can do Deadhead as well, but I don't think it matters too much. But this is kind of what I want. And then I want to go for Mirage. Energized munitions could be pretty cool, because it does work on the Archgun ammo, so let's do that. Although, 4.8 fire rate. Oh, that's fine actually. That's not so bad. All right, perfect. So for Mirage, I will do one thing. I think actually, no, I won't do it. So we will see way too many damage numbers because we get 3 grenades from the Outfire because of the multi-shot, and those 3 grenades work with the clones, so we get 9 grenades, and the 6 grenades from the clones deal less damage than the other 3 grenades from myself. So what I really want to get is the maximum damage possible, but it is gonna look weird for sure. Anyways, I really hope that, yeah, okay. So as you can see, the arcane of secondary surge is working already. Also, my god, the screen shake. So secondary surge is a damage multiplication for your weapon depending on the maximum energy you had before casting an ability, and just keeps casting with more ability casts. So, you know, now we are at 4x, we can stack this all the way up to 8x, but yeah, these were all the specials. You saw what I mean? So I kind of want to get like extremely high damage with this, but it's really difficult to do so. The ideal would be, you know, you stack it once and then you shoot it and then boom, you see high damage. But seeing like 1 million damage from just the clones is kind of stupid. Let's try to get like no clone action maybe. Right here. 98 million. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's and that wasn't like 3x, no? That wasn't too high. This can get all the way up to 8 times. Obviously, it wouldn't be easy to get it all the way up to 8 times, but holy shit. Yeah, Morgha is a crazy weapon. I don't know what to say. This weapon is wild. Holy shit. It is really difficult to get, in my opinion, the Morgha, especially if you haven't done the Lloyd guy, the Necroloid guy, on Deimos, because that's where you get it from. And I'll be honest, what I did was straight up buy it with Platinum. This is what I did. Buying it with Platinum has some pretty good stuff, honestly. It gives it, first of all, you get the Arcane Adapter. Second of all, you get the Gravimag directly, so you don't actually have to go farm another Gravimag to have the ground version of it. So if I go here, and if I go upgrade and I go actions, you see the Gravimag is already installed. It is here. So this is a really big thing, in my opinion, that you can just straight up buy this. You get the Gravimag directly on it, and then you can use the ground version. And the weapon itself, trading the parts, you have to trade the parts with someone that has like built every part but doesn't use it, so you can trade it. And then you also have to get the blueprint itself from Lloyd, or you just have to farm everything. Regardless, it is not the greatest, you know. So what I did was definitely just go farm it. If you have the way to get everything from Lloyd, farm it yourself, do so and do yourself a favor. This weapon is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm sure everyone will have a lot of fun for it, especially with something like Harrow Energized Munitions. You know the drill. You can get some really, really nutty damages from this. Combat Decrease should work on Archguns. I'm not sure about this. If someone has tried this, let me know in the comments, because I want to show some Combat and Archgun combinations that are going to be really, really funny. And some other stuff. Well, first of all, I have not tried the new gun. I have no idea how good this is. It looks very weird because it goes from like first to sixth attack, which is, it's kind of weird, but it has good stats, so I'm not sure how to feel about it. I will test it when I get it because I will farm it. Some other stuff, obviously Larkspur, we talked about it. Mandonel is really, really insane if you wanna use it. This thing with cracks and what do you call it? Primary cracks and Cascadia Flare is absolutely ridiculous. You have a lot of cool gun combinations. So, you know, the classic Corvus Prime for Profit Taker, or regular Corvus if you have a Riven. These still work just fine. That the Profit Taker is really, really easy to go through. The only issue with the Profit Taker right now is that speedrunners can't really skip the phase where the Profit Taker puts all the pylons in the ground, because usually you would shoot the ogres at them and the Nightwatch Napalm would take care of them. But Nightwatch Napalm is still currently bugged, and that won't happen. But once this is fixed, Profit Taker might become even easier and more accessible for a lot of players because your Archguns are able to almost one-shot him now. So this is really cool. So yeah, that's about it. Big buffs to Archguns, really pleased with the results. I wish we had some new modes for Archguns in general through this update. I'm kind of not really happy to see that we didn't get any new modes, because I think that would incentivize more build variety. But these are already very, very strong, so maybe it's for the better that we didn't get anything new. Thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I will see you in the next one.